Hey gorgeous, if you're a bit of a spender and you find it hard to build a savings buffer, then this video is for you, so stick around. Okay, if you're a spender money habit archetype, what that means is that all the money that tends to come into your life quickly flows out again, and you always kind of end up back at square one. So it's always that feeling of living hand to mouth, and it really has very little to do with the level of income that you have. It's more to do with the pattern being that the money that comes in all kind of disappears again. It all gets swallowed up by bills, unexpected expenses, all sorts of things. And sometimes you're not even quite sure exactly where it went, except it seems to be gone. So when that's happening, it can be really hard for you to build up a savings buffer. And that's frustrating and sometimes scary, right? So the reason that that's not happening is because you building up and accumulating savings is not a match to the spender money habit archetype. And that spender money habit archetype, that pattern, that is being informed and fueled and created by an underlying story, an underlying belief system that says, money can't stick around here, it's all got to go. So what can you do about it so that you can start building up a savings buffer? I'm going to give you 3 tips. Number 1, first port of call, obviously, is you want to figure out what that underlying story is and start to shift it. So I want you to think about this money habit archetype pattern that's showing up in your physical 3D reality as a clue, as the tip of an iceberg. It helps you figure out where this iceberg is, and then once you've located it, you can work your way down into the deeper levels of your mind and into your unconscious mind and figure out what is that story underneath that's creating this effect at the reality 3D visible tangible level. What is it that I hold to be true at the unconscious level, whether it's good or true, truly true or not? But what is my unconscious story that I've taken on that is playing out in this way? Now, one of the quickest and easiest ways you can do that is, like I said, by locating the money habit archetype, by putting your finger on it and then working your way down. Now, I have a quiz to help you do exactly that. The link to that is in the description. So jump on that, do the quiz, confirm you are a spender money habit archetype, and then I will send you a sequence of emails to help you uncover that story at the unconscious level so that you can untangle, disconnect it, and transform it into a much more helpful and empowering story. So that is step number 1. Now, the second step you want to do is you've got this ingrained long-standing habit, right? And what you want to do is you want to outsource as much of that as possible to a system that will take it away from the spender in you and do the right thing with your money. So something as simple as setting up an automated transfer of savings every single week. The more frequently, the better. Even if you do $1 a day to begin with, that's fine. You won't miss it. And it just becomes this thing that fades into the background. But the trick is send it to another bank where you can't see the money, where you kind of forget all about it. And then you only look at it every 6 months, or maybe you set a calendar reminder that I can check up on it quarterly. So outsourcing the habit of accumulating savings to a system means that it's not up to you to constantly look at all this money, juggle what's in your hands, and then have to put some aside, because that is not in your nature and that is not what you've been conditioned to do. So outsource that and make it as remote and removed from you as possible. Give the money to your mum if you must, whatever it takes, right? And then the third tip that I want to give you is you need to then set up some rules and make it really hard for you to get at that money. So rules like there is no ATM card for that account. There is no easy internet access to access that account, because you want to take away the temptation of dipping into that money. You can do things like put a second signatory on the account, so someone else needs to sign for you to even get to that money, or even put it in somebody else's name. But if it's going to be a significant amount of savings, then be careful, because if you want to then maybe use that as a deposit to buy a home, you could have trouble proving that it's your own savings. So just keep that in mind. Or make it easier. just give somebody else the password. Get somebody else to have your internet password, to change it, somebody you trust, obviously. And then that means that if you need to look at that money or want to access that money, you're going to need to give them a really good reason, which you will set out for them beforehand. Like, if I come to you and this and this and this is what's happening, then you give me the password so I can access the money. If I don't give you a good enough reason, or you don't quite believe my reason, then you don't give me the password, right? So you have to have a really good relationship with this person, but I know you have someone like this in your life. And what you can do is you can just ask them to kind of check in with you and give you those status updates and say, yep, it's up to this amount. So you don't even have to go check on how much money is in there. So set up the rules and make it hard for you to get to it. As much out of sight, out of mind as possible, outsourcing the actual habit to the system, and then removing yourself from it again as much as possible so you can't give in to temptation. And before you know it, that will become a new habit, and it's just what's going on, and you won't even think about it anymore. So shifting the habit patterns, this practical stuff I'm talking about, what it's going to do for you is that to your mind, to your unconscious mind, that's actually then change to the old story. It's actually proof that the old story may not be true, which helps you shift it. And then if at the same time you're doing what I suggested, do the quiz and follow the guidelines I give you from there on to start to untangle and change that old story, then you're coming at it from both angles, both from the practical, the habit, working your way down, and from the bottom up. And between the two, that is how you fast track and how you start to really shift that pattern so you can start building up that savings buffer, even though your money habit archetype is that of a spender. It does not need to mean that you can't do that for yourself. So make sure you start with the quiz. Have an amazingly, wonderfully transformative time with this. I'd love to hear your stories and how you're going. Maybe bookmark this post and put it in your calendar for 12 months' time, and then come back and tell me how much money you've accumulated, and let's celebrate. And until then, make sure you keep on embracing your beautiful and unlimited potential. Bye-bye.